everyone, happy Monday. This is Mondays with Marian. I'm your host, Marian Bacol-Uba, and each week I bring you new weekly videos talking about lifestyle, entrepreneurship, mindset, and I share with you my own personal stories and struggles of running my own business and the things that I've done to reach some sort of success in my life. I also share my current struggles and obstacles because I'm going through this entrepreneurial journey with you as well. The reason that my videos are a little bit different because they come from a perspective as an Asian American female entrepreneur. If you go to the first video, you'll see sort of the reasons why I decided to start it, and you'll get some background information. There's more information on my blog too. Today, I really wanted to talk to you about starting, more or less just to get started. And that could be anything. That could be to get started in a new side job, maybe switching careers, to get started in launching a business. Most people don't even start. And that's because they wait for everything to line up. They wait for perfection. And let me tell you, it'll never happen. Every time that I've had to start something, it was never perfect. But you need to start somewhere. And it's actually that action that propels more action. If you don't start, nothing will ever happen. It'll always be just a dream. It'll always just be a thought in your mind. It'll always just be a goal, something that you've always wanted to do, and it'll become a what if. But the whole point is to just start. Even if it's imperfect, you don't know what you're doing, you don't have everything in place, and you're scared because you might either lose your job, or you won't have any money, or you'll lose friends, whatever it is, this fear of not being able to have it right the first time, you need to get over that because that's paralyzing you from starting anything. And it's better to start than to never start at all. A story with you, actually, this video series. It took me a while to start it. So a few years ago, when I was still doing my food blog, I was really very comfortable in front of the camera and I loved it. After the food blogging thing I went for years without being in front of a camera. And when I decided to launch this new YouTube series, I was really paralyzed with how am I gonna look? I'm going to stutter, I have pimple, I don't know what people were gonna say. I made up a lot of excuses to not start. One of the things was I don't have a professional camera, it's not gonna look great, everyone else's videos are gonna look so much better, no one's gonna watch. And I just kept making excuses, and you know what? I told myself, if I don't start now with my iPhone camera and a simple mic, then I'm gonna keep pushing this off and procrastinating. So I just did it. One day, I just put my camera, I bought a tripod, I started filming, I had to do things over and over again, and it wasn't perfect. If you look at my first video, like the lighting's off, it's still not perfect. Sometimes I stumble, I fumble, it takes me a few takes, but at least I started. And I have something up. And it's just that first step. You always say you can't reach the end of the destination if you don't take that first step, and then the next and the next. And that action is actually what will propel you. So now that I've started and I have a few videos, I actually have more motivation to continue because I made a promise to do these weekly videos. So now I'm committed and I just keep doing it, but I had to just start. I have a tip for those of you who are scared to take action, or are scared of the consequences, or are fearful of what's going to happen. You know, am I going to lose money, to be jobless? Every time I've gone through that transition of wanting to start something new, either whether it was launching my business or moving to another city across the country, the key thing that really helped me out was to write it down. It makes such a huge difference. Type it out, write it down, make a list of the worst things that can happen, and then the best things that can happen. Don't overthink it, just write it all down. And when you really see the worst things that can happen versus the possibilities of the best things that can happen and what this change will bring into your life, most of the time, our worst fears are just unfounded fears and anxiety that we put in our heads. Most of the time, after you take that leap, that never comes true. It's really the anxiety that comes beforehand. So write things down. The worst things that can happen versus the best things that can happen. I'll give you an example. When I moved, I'm like, what's the worst thing that can happen? You know, we'll be short on money, I'll be broke, won't be able to pay my bills, I don't know anyone in this new city, and it actually happened. I was really broke, I barely knew anyone, but I became resourceful. And I actually talk about this in my past video, and I ended up serving again. bartending, working in a restaurant, making minimum wage, and really, really struggling. And the worst thing did happen. But you know what happened? I just kept on doing what I needed to do, moving forward. While I was working at the restaurant, I was trying to explore new ideas and trying to get new clients in the marketing side. And little by little, I just kind of kept going. And eventually, over time, I was able to build up the real estate and marketing business where I was able to quit working at a restaurant. It's crazy because those restaurants that I worked with before have now become some of my clients, and people that I work with are giving me referrals. So all things happen for a reason, but the worst thing did happen. I lost money and became broke again. But in the big picture of things, it really wasn't that bad. Now I look in hindsight, that was such a blessing in disguise because I met some amazing people. It's helped me in my current business right now. Whatever you think the worst thing that can happen, and even if it does happen, you'll survive it. You'll always move forward. The worst thing you can do is to not take action and to not start. Then you'll just always be stuck. So follow that tip, write it all down. The worst thing can happen and the best things that can happen. Write it down. It makes such a huge, huge difference. Instead of thinking of it in your head, put it all down into paper or type it all out. And trust me, the pros will always outweigh the cons. You know, whatever that you think you want to do, don't be paralyzed by overthinking. Just do it, because things will start falling into place once you start taking action. So that's it for today. If you liked today's video, please leave a comment or send me an email. Don't forget to subscribe in the button below. If you have any themes or things you want me to talk about, leave a comment or shoot me an email. And don't forget to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So see you guys next Monday.